everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dear Evan Hansen, which is currently playing in theaters. This film is actually based on the Tony and Grammy Award winning musical about Evan Hansen, who is a high school senior who is dealing with social anxiety disorder, who goes on a journey of self-discovery and acceptance after the suicide of a fellow classmate. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello, so glad you came. I hope you stay. Tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and should you pay your way to see Dear Evan Hansen in theaters, because we need to know how we're gonna spend our coins, y'all. So going into what I enjoyed about this film, this is actually one of the films that came that premiered at TIFF, a festival that I covered. And essentially the reviews were to say it lightly, they were harsh, okay? So I wanted to take a couple of days of soul searching after the premiere, and I really wanted to just try to look at this film as objectively as I could. But honestly, I will have to be honest with you guys. After watching Dear Evan Hansen, to me, I'm still perplexed how this even made it to a film adaptation. How this was such a celebrated play. I know that there's supposed to be some differences that happen between the play and the movie, but the general premise is still the same. And I'm just shocked that in 2021 that this is the film that they're releasing with the confidence that audiences are going to enjoy it. But I'm just going to give my thoughts on it. Okay, we're going to start with the pros, because I said in 2021 I'm not going to be petty anymore. So going into what I liked about Dear Evan Hansen, I will say that I really did enjoy Ben Platt's voice. Say what y'all want to say. Does Ben Platt look like a high school scene? He does not. Did the de-aging work? It did not. However, I will say at the end of the day, you can't say that he can't sing. He can sing. I like Ben Platt singing. I really did. Also, too, I did like Colton Ryan singing. Colton plays Connor in this film, and I actually really enjoyed his singing voice as well. But I will say, for me, one of the only parts that I truly did enjoy was the performance of Amanda Stenberg, who plays Alana, who plays a classmate who's very relatable to not only young kids but also to adults. To go on this theme about mental health and how a lot of people who are dealing with mental health, they look like their life is in order. They look like they are, they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. A bright and talented young student, and she's still dealing with mental health issues just like everyone else. And I really enjoyed her performance in this film. I enjoyed her singing as well, but I like Amanda, just the innocence and just the realness that she brings to her character. It made me want to learn more about Alana. It made me want them to delve deeper into her character, which is a huge issue that I just have in general of the movie as a whole. But she was actually one of the enjoyable parts that helped me to keep watching the movie with the screen time that she actually does get. I also do want to say, I will talk about the themes that they attempted, and I strongly attempted to nail in this film. I do like that they attempted to bring about a story about unlikely friendships, about those who you might not have that much in common with, or those who society might not tell you that you could get along. I do like that they explore unlikely friendships in this film. Also, too, exploring how people deal with mental health in different ways. Also, too, dealing with family trauma and being able to work through that with your family members, being able to have open and honest conversations between parents and their children. I think that's something that we need more of in films right now. But also, too, just how to deal with grief properly, and especially for people who are dealing with grief at such a young age. As somebody who had literally lost my father, when I was 5. I lost my best friend. My best friend died of cancer when I was a freshman in high school. I've experienced death of my grandparents, but I've experienced a lot of grief. And so I love that we're starting to see even more movies, especially with young people, learning how to deal with grief, because it's something that everybody has been dealing with lately. But also, too, the effects of social media. Also, too, making sure that we're investigating videos that we see on social media, that we're investigating the people that we decide to uplift and embrace, without actually doing the research as to who that person is. Now, outside of that, that's pretty much all that I really enjoyed about this film, and I delved really deep and hard to give you the things that I did enjoy about Dear Evan Hansen. But I think my biggest problem comes in when we're talking about these things and how they're actually executed. And I think the biggest crime of Dear Evan Hansen Evan Hansen is that they take a character like Evan, who you should feel sorry for, because Evan is dealing with social anxiety disorder. There's issues, familial issues that are happening that kind of gets Evan into the situation where he's so desperate to seek attention that it leads him to make a very dangerous and a very poor decision. Where the movie goes wrong is they take this character that does have all of these things that they're dealing with, but they don't take the time to really flesh that out. You don't really get to learn that much about Evan. You hear Evan's side of the story, but you don't actually get the whole picture of what is happening between him and the relationship with his mom, played by Julianne Moore. You know, what happened with some of those familial issues that they have amongst themselves, but also to issues delving into the absence of his father. And I think that because we don't delve into that, because we don't actually acknowledge the issues that Evan is going through, and we never actually see anyone actively trying to help Evan deal with those issues, he becomes a very unlikable person. He becomes Evan is just, I did not like Evan at all. And I think that's the hugest problem of this movie, is because you have this unlikable person who is literally the center of this entire film. And the film really only delves into his aspect of the story of how everything happened, to the point where you almost end up hate watching it. You're just like, I can't, it's almost, you feel disgusted as a viewer because you hate that you're trying to take the time to make me feel sorry for someone who can do something so horrible to somebody else and really profit and attention off of that. And because of that, because when you delve deeper into that, and when the climax of the film happens, there's no repercussions for this character. It's this character who's supposed to be hindered by his, because he's dealing with mental illness, because his family has all of these different issues that's going on. You're supposed to feel sorry. He's supposed to be the underdog. However, the character comes out very privileged, even more privileged than the characters that we're introduced to, who do come from a better life. And I think because of that, the whole cast gets sidelined behind Ben Platt. You have Caitlin Denver. You got, I wanted to know more about Amanda Stenberg. You have Danny and Amy, who plays Connor's parents. You want to learn more about their dynamic. Everyone gets shortchanged in the story, and there's no repercussions for what Evan actually does. That when they're trying to have these emotional payoffs towards the end of the film, you just like, what happened? The ending is rushed. It's over a 2-hour film. The ending felt so rushed that I was like, wait a minute, did anybody actually help Evan? Did anyone help Evan get the help that he actually needed to deal with his mental health, to deal with the underlying issues of how someone can do something so disrespectful, to lie to so many people? And I think for a movie like this, especially in the social climate that we're in, you have to address that. You have to address the whole idea of how we just idolize people on social media without actually getting to know that person, on how someone like Evan can make a decision like this, but no one around him, his family, those who are new friends in his life, no one can see what is happening before our eyes as clear as day, that this kid needs some type of help, needs professional help, needs attention and care and understanding to figure out the underlying issues on how we got into the plot of this actual story. And so at that point, it just makes it it's a really poorly executed film. The themes, they attempt to do something with the themes. There's no payoff. There's no emotional payoff. You don't care about Evan. He's still just as unlikable when the movie first started to where it ends, because there's no real resolution. You don't really get to see how the family of this kid who committed suicide, how they were actually able to heal, how they dealt with the aftermath of Evan's decisions. You don't get to see any of that. And I think that it does the message a disservice. It does those who are dealing with mental health a disservice. And to the point where I was just like, okay, Ben could sing, but I was like, okay, that's cute. But other than that, I will never watch this movie again. And for me, what I would tell you to do with you and your coins for Dear Evan Hansen is to wait. I wouldn't tell anyone to go watch this movie. I actually think it's kind of dangerous, people watching this movie thinking that it's okay to do these things and almost not advocating that. I feel like the real message of this film should have been advocating for help for our youth, for anyone dealing with mental health, how to look at the signs of someone who are dealing with things, and what are the ways that we can kind of help those within our community. And for me, I feel like this is a dangerous movie to really put out and pass it off as a film about self-discovery and acceptance on this journey, because none of those things is what I actually saw on the screen. So those are my thoughts on Dear Evan Hansen. As always, my name is Sharana from Pay Your Weight. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again,